I'm late for an engagement, and death is a friend.
Everyone, need your attention, please. I'm gonna burn this place to the ground.
We don't sleep to dream, we sleep to build stamina. Energy to do our thing, get your camera. This show is about to begin, so sit down and buckle it in. Let's go! Welcome. It is Wednesday at 10 a.m. My name is Brian, that is Shane, and we are your amazing hosts today. We are so glad you are here hanging out with us as we talk about some fascinating topics. Today we are talking about, is TV dead? And a recent article from the Sopranos creator pretty much says exactly what we feel about it. In addition to, I watched Echo and She-Hulk being canceled, and perhaps a supernatural revival because we've run out of ideas. It is going to be an amazing show. We're also talking about the huge caucus. Sorry, I had to do that.
Iowa's got a huge caucus.
We're going to chat about that a little bit today. And we got a little weekly weird that I didn't put on the thumbnail, but I found it right at the very end. And it's about aliens. And you're not going to miss that.
And don't forget, Gene Roddenberry's ashes are lost to space.
Yes,
because people are stupid.
Yes, and Gene Roddenberry's ashes are lost to space.
Oh my!
I almost forgot to put that on the thumbnail. What am I thinking? What's going on with me today?
Right? That's like the biggest news of all is that George Washington, JFK, and Gene Roddenberry's ashes are now lost to space. It's freaking ridiculous. I cannot wait to rant about that.
Yeah, because people are just dumb. All right, so you know how it goes if you've been here before, but if you haven't, let me break it down for you. If you look at the top left, right there, you'll see it says Pop Culture Unleashed. That's us. We are Pop Culture Unleashed. But if you would like to tick that health bar down and become king of the stream,
or queen,
or hero, or however you identify, non-binary, gender fluid, quasi leader, dictator, whatever, then all you gotta do is send in some super chats, tips, memberships, etc., and that health will be knocked off, and it will be replaced by you, and whoever is there the longest will win our mystery shirt of the day. And assuming we get at least $40 with super chats, because it costs us about $40 to send them out. Okay, guys. Here's. I just want to jump pretty much right into it with a quick little story. I went to the mountains on the holiday this past Monday, and on the way up the mountain, about 3/4 into my journey, my car started to say something, a warning message over and over and over again. It said, low oil pressure. So me stopping and Googling it, assumed that there wasn't enough oil or something else that was horrible bad. So I put more oil in it, and it went away. On the way back, I got the new message where it said my engine was overfilled with oil.
Too much oil. You can't go right.
Barely made it back down the mountain, but I did, and that's why we're here today. And I just thought it was really funny how the bad stuff always happens when you are completely incapable of fixing the problem.
Yeah, you're like you're about to be the Donner Party,
right?
Dinner for four,
and it was so cold. Oh my God, it's cold here today. It's really cold. It's gonna be a cold winter.
Yeah. Gotcha, man. And I got to tell you, I'm glad you're back. I'm glad you made it safe. Did you know that the Love Boat was prescient?
Prescient?
The Love Boat. Do you remember the Love Boat TV show?
Yeah.
Okay. So
the Love Boat, that one?
Yeah, it's able to predict the future. So this is actually pretty hilarious. When I was a kid, I loved watching the Love Boat. It was like Aaron Spelling shows were the best, right? Go back and look at them all. But I was watching the Love Boat last night. And the reason I was watching the Love Boat is because I've been watching Cheers to go to bed. You know, you got to have that thing where you've seen it a million times, so you go to sleep.
Right.
So I've been watching Cheers, but my wife absolutely hates Cheers. Like she hates Diane Chambers to no end, right? And I love that show, but that's fine. So I said, well, what do you want to watch? And we're going through like all these old TV shows that's not going to keep us up because it's interesting. And we ran across the Love Boat. And I'm like, oh, damn, I haven't seen the Love Boat in, 30 years, probably 30, fantastic. So we put on the Love Boat, and I'm watching the first episode. Got into the second episode. The second episode of the Love Boat, the very first season, was John Ritter. Of course, you remember from Three's Company, and super hilarious, funny, physical comedian. And he died too young. But he was dressing up as a woman, right? And the reason he was dressing up as a woman on the Love Boat was so that he could he was a stowaway essentially, or he couldn't get a room. So he dressed up as a woman. He was trying to win back a girl who had left him for another dude, right? So he's dressed up as a girl, and he gets caught coming out of the linen closet by Captain Steubing, who is instantly intrigued by this gorgeous redheaded woman that had come out of the linen closet.
Ooh.
And of course he's flirting with
there.
John Ritter. Right. And John Ritter is kind of flirting back a little bit, right? Not sure what to do, confused. And they talk about the fact that John Ritter says, "Oh, it's a shame what they've done with the sexes." And Captain Steubing's like, "Yes, yes, yes." And John Ritter says, "Someday in the future, we'll all be one sex." And I was like, whoa, the Love Boat knew what was coming, because that's where our society's heading, right? So anyways, thought I'd share that. The Love Boat knew that the transgender revolution would come, and it's here. So
at the Love Boat,
on the Love, which is appropriate, the Love Boat. So that's my story for today.
One of my favorite shows of all time growing up was Fantasy Island, but it became really cheesy. The older I get, the more I was like, this isn't for me. And then I saw the Blumhouse version of Fantasy Island, and I was like, oh. Yes, bring back Fantasy Island with this premise. This dark premise was so awesome. But the funniest part about it was, and what I looked forward to as a kid was the dwarf guy. I'm more forgetting Tutu. What's his name? Tonto?
The dwarf guy?
The little guy, the little tiny guy in Fantasy Island.
Oh, you're talking about the plane.
Yeah, the plane. I would laugh my ass off. So
I totally just forgot his name when you said it.
Is it Tonto? Tutu?
It's not Tonto.
Toto.
No, it's not Toto. It's I totally drew a blank. I can't remember now.
Someone tell me in the chat.
That was a great show as well, though.
Who the little person is in Fantasy Island, please. Okay, so we are gonna get cracking here. First thing we want to talk about is
tattoo. Thank you, Anthony.
Thank you. I knew it was something simple like that. I was just forgetting.
Yeah. You were close, bro.
I was. So speaking of old TV. There's been some really good TV out there, right? And then there's been some bad, and we always hear about this. It's a constant reminder that TV has ups and downs and cycles, but generally speaking, the stuff that hits the zeitgeist, the stuff that people like, is it evolves over time, and it's always better. But we are going through a time in history where, and there's always been vapid, dumb sitcoms and shows like that, of course. But we're going through a time in history where everything is vapid, dumbed down, clinical, sterilized. And Shane found this great article, and it was perfect because I wanted to talk a little bit about Echo and She-Hulk today. But I didn't want to drag Shane into having to watch the crap.
I've already seen the Green Chick show.
Okay. All right. So you saw it.
But Echo, I'm not going to do it.
Right.
I'm just simply not going to.
Right.
I mean, the moment it comes out and like literally everybody in existence says it's awful, why would I put myself through it? Just so that I could share with you more insight on how shitty the show was. It's just a waste of both of our time.
I get it. Yeah. But I still wanted to talk about it because I thought there was something bigger there to talk about. Not just like, Echo is a bad TV show. Yeah. Okay. We've all figured that out. She-Hulk did not live up to its full potential. Yeah, we figured that out. But they are two of many symptoms, or two of a larger whole that is the downfall of television, or the way they say it in this article, prestige television. It's like,
yes, and explain. So prestige television is thought-provoking, intelligent television with serious adult overtones. That's
right. It. Right. And what happens is what's been going on is even in like the young people, like let's say CW style, like that demographic, there was always even in that demographic, while there was some vapid and there was some obvious teenage themes, there was still a deepness to some of the storytelling, not all of it, but some of it. You know, it's like Supernatural. That show started on the CW, and you know it was made for the teenage girl crowd, but it developed into its own to become a dark story about two brothers, you know, versus the universe. And while there was totally there was typical, you know, CW tropes to it, there was also a very deep story about two brothers that were literally sticking together through thick and thin. And there was horror elements and sci-fi elements and things. It had a theme. Like they knew what they were, and they pushed the envelope every season. And sometimes a show can start off as, this is what it's for. The Gilmore Girls. It's for this audience. So that's all we're going to try to focus on. But then as it goes, it evolves into prestige television. I'm not saying the Gilmore Girls were or weren't. I'm saying that a lot of people really enjoy that show, and they feel like those characters are very deep, and that story was very deep. That's not what's happening now. And I don't know who to blame. I don't know if it's because a lot of these studios and creators, they know they only have a few seasons tops, and they have to jump right into it to try to make their mark, and they don't have a lot of a runway in which to get fans on board and introduce the characters. So they push it out as quickly as possible and as dumbed down as possible. Maybe streaming might be a part of it, and also might be a part of the sort of the woke culture where you cannot push certain boundaries, you cannot talk about certain things. So they all sort of keep it to the same sterile one-liners and typical 2024 topics. I'm not sure exactly what it is, but before I read this article, I had been feeling that way the last couple of years. I mean, like, what have you been watching, Shane? What have you been watching when you go to bed? Has anything you watched come out in the last 5 years?
I just told you Love Boat and Cheers and Star Trek. Right. Yeah, no, unfortunately, you're right. There's a level of it's tough. Now let's be straight about something here. In this article, and I want to, before we get into the depth and breadth of it, the reality is that The Sopranos, who was created by David Chase, it's been 25 years since The Sopranos was on the air.
Right.
And he created a show that was really, really, a wave of popularity of the time. Like, that was during that time when HBO was becoming a powerhouse of these types of shows, ending with such shows as Barry, which I know that was mentioned in the chat here. Barry's a great show last season. One of those great thinking shows, plus fun, and I would make Barry part of this whole, type of television that he's saying is going away. But the thing about David Chase is that he's always been a little bit of an angry guy. And he kind of goes through this article talking about how, things have changed and TV's changed, and talking about, some truth about the facts that studios have more control over projects. They're having more input. They're requiring you to do more things. And he no longer has like the carte blanche to do whatever he wants to do. And the reason this came up was because he was working on a current project, and he basically had a meeting with the studio, and he was doing a show about a young screenwriter, and how a high-end prostitute was forced into witness protection. Right. So the story is about a high-end prostitute forced into witness protection. They're on their third and their fifth meeting with the studio, and they told him, "Look, guys, that's just too complex. Like a prostitute and witness protection, like, who's going to watch that? That's too intelligent, basically."
I'd watch that.
So of course we would, because
now.
We like intelligent television. But the problem is the studios are all about pandering right now. So they're trying to create shows, all except Apple, which we'll get back to, because I don't think that Apple TV applies to any of this. Apple TV is making the smartest television shows that anybody are making right now. And so I think that Dave needs to go over and make shows for Apple if he wants to make smart television. But essentially, he's right, because if you look at Disney and you look at A lot of the studios creating shows, they're trying to pander to the widest audience available. Now, why is that? It's because there's so much streaming programs. There are more shows to watch than there have ever been in the history of television right now. They're all over the place. And what are they all doing? They're competing for eyeballs. So the studios recognize, Dave talks about in this article how, what are we doing? What are we just pandering to the shareholders? Yes, Dave, that's exactly what's happening. We're pandering to shareholders because if you didn't notice, all of these streaming companies, because they spend, how much they spend on $225 million on She-Hulk, Attorney at Law, $225 million to make a season of She-Hulk.
And you got to ask yourself, where is that money? Because it wasn't in the graphics.
You know what? You can pay people to do bad work.
Apparently,
you can still pay people a shit ton of money to do bad work. Now, my point is that I see his frustration. He's trying to work with all these studios that are saying, look, a prostitute that's in witness protection, who's going to want to watch that? Well, women aren't going to want to watch prostitute in witness protection. I mean, some guys are probably going to want to watch that. What about the younger audience? No, they're not going to be interested in that. So they're trying to figure out, based on a show, like who's going to be interested in it. You want to know who watches Sopranos? Everybody. You want to know who watched Better Call Saul? Everybody. Right? You want to know who watched Breaking Bad? Everybody. Why? Because they're amazing and great TV shows, but studios aren't willing to take a risk on shows that aren't pandering to wide audiences. And what's happening is it's causing us to create like a dumber model. And the people who are the most successful at streaming right now are creating the most vapid content of anybody out there, and they're making the most money. And who is it? Netflix.
Right.
Netflix is making a ton of money off these shows, Hot or Not, or Love is Blind, or Sex on the Island, or Fuck Your Buddy, or whatever it is that they're doing. There's tons of these shows, right, that they have. Now, they've got some interesting stuff too. They got an Adam Sandler movie coming out that looks interesting, if not weird, which we can talk about later. But Netflix is the only powerhouse in streaming right now, making money, and they're going to a cheaper format. Less money, to create these shows, paying people less, creating more content, buying the content other streamers can't afford.
Right.
So that's what's happening. You've got this dumbing down of television occurring, but there are also intelligent, smart TV shows out there like Silo, like For All Mankind, which just ended. Like there's several of those Apple shows that are just like really, really great. So I don't know. What do you think?
No, I think you're right. Like when someone mentioned Barry, there is some good TV still out there coming out, but it is far and few between. Like considering the thousands of new shows that are being produced from all these studios, and we can only count on one hand how many shows have hit the zeitgeist and really, really did it in a smart way that was entertaining with smart characters, a smart story, and then ran their course. A lot of shows, and some of these shows were like, oh, wow, that was a great show. But because it didn't get enough attention or enough marketing or whatever, it doesn't even get to run its course, which that happens a lot too. Because in the streaming age, they don't want, look, old TV, let's go, legacy television before streaming. You had a show, and it was mostly ad supported, right? Or subscriber supported, but ad supported for the most part. What happened was commercials would run on a show that was popular. At the end of the season, they would look at their numbers, look at how much money they made off that show with viewers and commercials, and they'd be like, let's renew this thing for a second season. Or maybe it didn't make money, but they feel like now they find their swing, they have their sets, they've already put a lot of the initial money out. The second season is probably going to make money. Let's give it a second season, whatever, right? It'll find its audience.
Right.
And so then they renegotiate with the creators, the showrunners, the writers, the actors, et cetera, and they usually give them a little extra money for that second season. And then the second season does well, and they go, okay, now a third season. Now you're making money. Now we're cooking with gas. And one more season will get us out of the hole we dug in season one, right? Let's say if it was only moderately successful. Boom. Then they give them a little more money. and you have this ensemble cast, and they're making X amount of money per episode, and the third season is a success, and then in regular network TV, that's when we go, okay, now the fourth season, they're gonna want a lot more money. What's the common thing, right? 7 seasons and a wedding. That's what every TV show wanted back then, because if you get to 7 seasons, you're talking about big money, syndication. This thing is being replayed. You are getting monthly checks for the rest of your life. That's what every actor wanted. Every writer, every person attached to something that had point of sale. So they go, let's go for a 4th season. You're making money. The show's doing great. We're wrapping our marketing around it. Everyone's watching this show, whatever it is. And they give them more money. And every season, they're negotiating a little more money. Or maybe the same amount of money, but they get to direct a couple episodes, or they get a producer credit, or whatever. They're getting more for their time because they're delivering a profit to the studio or to the network. That's not how it works anymore in streaming, because it doesn't matter how many, unless you got in such an insane amount of viewership that they can easily equate your show into to new subscribers. Their subscriber base is the same. Ad rates don't matter. After the 2nd season, that 3rd season, that if that wasn't built into your contract, the odds of you getting it are pretty thin. They don't want to continually pay actors more and more money every season when they're making the same amount of money they made in season 1. Nothing is changing because it's subscriber based now. And they're not going to lose subscribers by canceling your show, and they're not gaining any more subscribers by keeping your show.
Right. It used to be that's how you kept eyeballs on your station, was you kept these great shows. But the reality is that when a show goes off the air on Netflix or Hulu or one of these other shows, people just go, okay, well, what's next? And then they look for the next thing on there. And as long as a streaming service has another good show that they haven't seen, they'll continue watching it. And so, and the networks and the streaming services know this, so they can kind of condense these. That's why you're never going to see these long seasons anymore. Like Brian was saying, they're going to continuously be pushing this new content out. The question is it any good? Looking at the top streaming shows out right now, you got Echo, which I don't know how that's a top streaming show. It's listed number 1, even though it's only a 73 on Rotten Tomatoes for critic,
because it was just opened up.
That's probably what it is. Yeah. You got True Detective Night Country, which I know there was some interesting stuff about, but it's got a 93% on Rotten Tomatoes.
And I'm going to tell you something. I watched it. It was garbage. What did they do? They have completely gone away from what made True Detective a good show. And they are totally just dying to the mind virus, dude. It's crazy.
Yeah, so you've got shows like, you can go down and we don't need to talk about them all, but Fool Me Once, The Brother's Son, The Bear season, Boy Swallows Universe, Louder Milk. Beef, which I did think was actually a really good show, actually was up for a couple of awards at the Golden Globes.
Beef felt like that could have been made into a movie. It didn't require,
it should have been a movie. Right. It should have been, but let's be frank, a lot of these should just be movies.
Yeah, right? They dragged out like this story that could have been told in an hour and a half into like 8 hours of content.
It's the same thing. Even though Beef is good, it could have been a movie. Silo, same way, it could have been a movie. But the reality is it's TV, and that's fine. You get a little additional content. If you like it, then that's great. There are some good things here. Some people liked Reacher.
Love Reacher.
Brought back by Amazon. A lot of people like that show. That's a dude show, I expect. Fargo came back. Some people like the new Ted show. And I wouldn't say these are bad shows, but I also wouldn't say they're on the same level as The Sopranos. And I think that's what Dave's talking about.
No, Reacher is unique because it's not unique. That makes sense. It's like if you took Reacher and took it back 15 years ago, it's not a special TV show. It is just another TV show you saw on Fox at 11 o'clock at night about a masculine dude, who's smart, doing his thing.
Right. But we don't have any of those shows anymore.
Yeah. Right. In 2024, that doesn't exist.
Show.
And now we're like, whoa, this is a new concept.
Holy
guy
cow.
Who's the hero, who's also respectful to people, who's smart, who has a past that makes him broken, but also wants to do the right thing. Like, that is not something we see now. Like, I swear to God, you took that show and you took it back 15 years, it would not be the acclaimed show everyone's making it right now. It would just be another one of those shows.
Yeah.
But we don't see that anymore. Normally, I honestly expected when I first started Reacher, for Reacher to be chastised by every female he saw, to be totally cut throughout, even though I read the book. I did not expect it to actually be true to the character. Like, I did not expect it. And so when I watched the first season, I was like, oh my God, this show is outstanding. I want to know more about this character. Then season 2 comes out and they start actually diving into the guy's history and backstory and his unit. And you're like, damn, this is a great show. And I'm like, wait a minute. It's not actually a great show. It's just what I remember TV to be like.
Right. No, that's the truth. And the funny thing about Amazon, you can talk about a lot of the streaming services, and Amazon has its ups and downs. It has huge downs, but it also has huge ups.
It does, yeah.
Shows like Reacher and shows like The Boys and there are shows that are actually pretty darn good on Amazon. They seem to really let their creatives, good or bad, do whatever the hell they want. You look at Rings of Power, and you look at that other fantasy show, the Wheel of Time, and some of those shows that are on there. You're like, You're like, oh shit, this is bad.
I really enjoy. Some of their shows are really good, but I would say that it's like for every one really good show, there's like 3 just bloated garbage shows.
And you're going to have that. You're going to have that when you're trying to create. You're competing with everybody to create as much content. And think about it. If you want. And this is where you really, really got to stretch your mind a little bit, right? So NBC, CBS, and ABC were the 3 network shows. Throw Fox in there if you want a little bit later. They were all competing for all of your eyes, right?
Right.
So now you have like 7 to 9 streaming services plus network television. They're all vying for your eyes. And so what's happening is when you got a streaming service, like say Amazon or any of them, right? They're trying to create shows for everybody, but they're also trying to create enough shows to cover everybody. Think about that for a second.
Right.
So they're trying to create enough types of shows that they capture every potential person who could possibly want to, subscribe to their service, because it's not about keeping the same person on the service all the time. It's about getting everybody onto your service. And the only way to get everybody in your service is if you have something for everyone.
Right.
And that's what happens. And that's why we end up with so many shows that guys like you and I don't like, because they have to create those shows for people who like it. I mean, think about it. Were any of us going to watch the Oxygen Network?
No.
Were we ever going to watch Oprah Winfrey's shit? You and I. No, we were never going to watch that stuff.
Never saw a point.
But 50% of the planet likes that stuff. The gals like it, right? So Amazon has to bring content like that onto its platform, which we're going to criticize, in all fairness.
Right, of course. But going back to this guy's point, it's not just that TV is being dumbed down. It's that they're being dumbed down, but they're also not giving you the benefits of what streaming used to be. A lot of them are going back to commercials. Like they're going to go back to an ad-supported format.
Of course they are.
So now,
of course they are.
Right. They want to squeeze as much money.
The fact that he's surprised by this, frankly, is shocking.
Well, I mean, he worked at HBO. There was no commercials.
Because it was a pay per view, and that was the model for that. Because if you wanted the extras, you paid for it. Otherwise, go watch free TV, which had ads on it. That was the model. But what happened? Streaming service spent $225 million making a stupid ass TV show about a green girl, and now they have no money. So now they're like, well, the only way we're going to get paid is if we put ads on these things on top of it.
So what's the difference though between
triple dipping?
Right, but what's the difference between paying $15 for HBO back in the day on premium cable and paying $15 for HBO Max?
They weren't back in the day.
Yeah, back 10, 15 years ago, before streaming,
supposed to be the same thing.
You paid $15 a month for premium cable, which was HBO. That was
right. But it paid for itself back then.
Right.
That's why. Now they're no longer making enough money because they're not making the shareholders happy, because they have to create more content to keep up with more streaming services. So now HBO or Max or whatever, they have to make more content to keep up with Amazon and Netflix. So it cost them a lot more money, which means they got to find a way to get more money. Back in the day, you had The Sopranos, you had Dream On, you had, a few really great shows.
True Blood.
Entourage, right. You showed up for
Carnival.
those.
Right.
And they didn't need to make more content because those were the shows that people came to watch there. Now they have to have
Game of
3 to
Thrones.
4 times that content. They have to have 3 to 4 times that content in order to compete with Netflix.
Well, so we're in a content spiral then. It's like literally like a low content spiral. If you had just focused on making high quality content, then you wouldn't have to be continually trying to churn out content in order to keep your people happy.
Well, not just high quality. Well, it's impossible first to make high quality content. There's not enough creative people that are talented enough to create this much content. We don't have enough smart, good writers in our country, or to create this much content. We don't. I'm sorry. It's hard to be a writer. It's hard to be a good writer. Okay, and we have so much damn content. I mean, listen, I swear to God, if you're even a halfway decent writer and you're a young person, get your ass to Hollywood. They're going to hire you. You may not like how much you get paid, but it's going to happen. So because of the fact that we don't have great content and they're trying to pander to everybody just to get people to sign up for these services. I mean, listen, this is going to all implode in the next 3 to 5 years. It will all implode. Right. There will be right now we've got the expansion of streaming. We will have the contraction, and then we'll have an explosion, and we'll have a couple winners.
It'll be a big bang with everyone. Yeah, like 3 people or 3 companies, services are going to suck everyone else up.
Right.
Yeah. No. Yeah. I totally believe. that. And I think that everyone's rushing to be big enough to survive the swallow. Right.
Yep. Agreed.
Yeah. It was interesting too. Going through this article. Yeah, this guy is clearly sort of an angry guy, but all of his all of his thoughts are really exactly how I feel. Another thing he says is, he goes, as the human race goes on, we are more into multitasking. Your phone is just one symptom, but who can really focus? That's an interesting concept. Like a lot of people, my wife does that. I'm trying to introduce her to a new TV show, and I look over and she's on Instagram or TikTok, and I'm like, yo, put your phone down. How can you possibly know what's going on right now?
Well, because it's a battle. Okay, so I love that you brought this up, because this is a very important thing. We're all narcissists, ultimately. We all are doing whatever it is that is most important to us at any given moment, right? So if that TV show isn't more important than what's happening on your phone, you're not going to put it down. Like, you're going to go to your phone. It's right there.
Right.
And so we have to train ourselves to do one thing at a time again. Otherwise, we're always going to go to the lowest common denominator, which is the thing that's going to give us the most immediate return on our feedback, scrolling through stupid TikTok videos, basically.
Well, it's impossible for me to introduce my wife to something new if I can't keep her phone off. So
you can't keep her attention.
What I've been doing is I've been throttling the Wi-Fi, and she's never going to know.
Brian, you could just ask her to put the phone down.
I do. She doesn't listen.
Oh, well,
yeah.
Then she doesn't. Then she's just humoring you, and she doesn't really want to watch that TV show.
I was trying to show her Barry, and she couldn't get it.
Show.
She had a hard time getting into it because she's distracted. She's not distracted when she's watching some soap opera or whatever that she's already invested in, already knows the characters. Not. But if you ask her to learn about new characters, it's very difficult. Right. A lot of these shows are trying to, out the gate, they're trying to capture you immediately. So just enough so that you are invested in those characters, just enough so you keep watching.
And I'm not saying, like, when I say vapid, I'm not saying that someone's, stupid because they watch it. I mean, I get trapped all the time in stupid ass TV shows. Like, my wife will be watching, The Mole came on, right? I don't know if you've seen that show, The Mole.
No.
Right. And okay. So it's basically like Survivor, but intelligent. And so cool. I'm sitting there, I'm eating my dinner, and I happen to be watching the show she's watching for about 15 minutes. And then I was like stuck. I had to find out what was going to happen next. And so it's capable. And honestly, there's some pure out entertainment and enjoyment in watching those shows. It's just that, we need a good balance. And as long as, you can have these, and we've had these dumbass TV shows for a long time, reality TVs, but even, America's Got Talent is once again doing a season of, where each judge picked their favorite performers. We've run out of talent across the globe. They now have to go back and recycle all the talent to make new shows with the same people that already made shows on the show.
Well, yeah. So on that note, we also can't go forward with shows like we talked about before. Star Wars cannot go forward and make new Star Wars. They have to exist within the time frame that's already been established. Recently, I found that tweet that was deleted by Sam Esmail. found an archive talking about Battlestar Galactica.
Mm.
And he deleted this because, of course, it sounds bad. He said, BSG fans, this will not be a remake of the amazing series at Ron D. Moore launched, because why mess with perfection? Instead, we'll explore a new story within the mythology while staying true to the spirit of Battlestar. So say we all. That means that it's going to be some kind of prequel or something inside. It's not going to be moving the story forward.
They can't move the story forward. Not really, unless you want to put them on a planet. You know, the whole thing about Battlestar I don't think is a great example of that. I mean, I think you should stick to Star Trek and Star Wars and these franchises but Battlestar's an encapsulated
What I'm saying is,
story.
because they can't move forward, and if they really want to do more Battlestar Galactica, they should reboot it.
Yeah, they got to redo it.
But they're afraid of that because they're not going to be able to mess with. They're not going to be able to beat. And he says it in the tweet. Why mess with perfection? He's not going to be able to beat Ron D. Moore's Battlestar.
But as a creator, why would you? I mean, it would be, can you imagine going and saying, I'm going to go do Lord of the Rings? Like, for real? I mean, give me a break.
Right.
No, you're not. If you want to go make Lord of the Rings, you're going to fail. And deep inside, you know, you're going to fail. You know, so why would you go and create something?
That's how I feel a lot of these. Let's say Star Trek. Even writers in Star Trek feel the same way. Obviously, Terry didn't. But a lot of other Star Trek writers and creators are like, well, we can't. I don't want to make a mistake and move the and put the wrong foot forward. So I got to
about making a mistake. I don't think the reason why they don't move forward is because they're afraid of making a mistake.
So why not?
Because studios don't want to take a risk that you lose the fan base, and they feel like they need to hold on to these member berries, and they need to actually stay inside of a realm where people understand what's already happened, and that will make them happy and want to watch. They don't want to go forward making new content because it's a risk, and we are in a risk adverse environment when it comes to making new television shows, unless you're on Apple Television.
That's weird though. It's like,
I swear to God, they should be our sponsor. I mean, I'm going to talk to them.
Yeah. But so you're saying Paramount doesn't want to mess with the existing fan base, so it makes Star Trek Discovery, which completely throws out the rule book for existing fan base.
No, it's not for the existing fan base. No, they do. They believe they're pandering to the existing fan base and the new fan base. They do. They feel that way by staying in this realm and grabbing Spock and grabbing Kirk and grabbing all these characters. They feel like they're, going to be the most successful that way. Now, if they can easily go forward. They have writers that could go forward and write stories going forward,
right?
But they don't want to do it because it's a risk. So, and you have to create a new concept. You have to come up with new ideas, and they're just afraid. I don't think it has anything to do with being afraid they're not going to make good content. I think they're afraid that they're going to fail financially.
Interesting.
Yeah.
But they're not smart enough to realize that Discovery is going to fail them financially?
Well, here's a good reason. Okay, so let's go back to Star Trek Picard season 3, right?
Right.
Since we're experts on that and we're close to it, every project that Terry Matalas wanted Alex Kurtzman to work on, right, was basically shot down.
Right.
So he came to him with a bunch of different ideas, and Kurtz's like, no. All the ideas, by the way, into the future. Right. Into the future. Things in the future. So, the reality is that I don't think they want to explore some place that they think that not all the fans will want to go to. So little do they know that they'd follow Terry Matalas anywhere in Star Trek. Right. Same thing with Star Wars. They are moving forward in Star Wars. I
would say it's less risk adverse to move forward than to mess with something that people already love.
It's less risk adverse for the franchise and the how people feel about Star Wars, but not necessarily who will want to watch it. For example, Rey will be moving the Star Wars franchise forward, right, in the next movie. Right, that's forward.
That is.
Nobody fucking wants to go see it though.
No one wants to. You've already ruined it though.
But it's forward.
You know what I'm saying? You've already destroyed it though.
Maybe they should have moved forward. Well, they did move forward. 7, 8, and 9 move forward. Right, they just destroyed it.
They should have just stuck to their guns and kept moving forward, bro. Before everyone hated it.
Well, but they hated it by 8, so it doesn't matter. Like they hated it at 8 and 9. So even if you come out with a new one, as long as Rey is in the driver's seat,
I would have given it another shot, dude.
Really?
Yeah, if it was movies that were like separated by years, I would have given it another shot.
After 9, you would have given it another shot.
Look, 9 really, ruined me internally and emotionally. But time, minimizes all wounds. But they never even let you have they never gave you a chance to heal. They just kept coming out with garbage after garbage after garbage, just constantly beating down the fan base, and never had a chance to actually like heal the wounds of episode 8 or 9.
Well, there was no healing. They just continue to destroy us. So I don't know.
It's non-stop, dude.
There was no way to fix it. JJ came back and tried to fix 9, and he made it worse. So yeah. So
it's
bottom line is,
it's like he didn't even watch 8 too, which was even funny. Like he was like, "Oh yeah, you made a movie."
He's trying to fix it. No, he watched 8. He just was trying to fix it. They messed up. They knew they messed up.
Yeah, they did.
They killed Snoke. They fucked up. That was it. Anyway, so I don't know. TV is long. I will say the good thing about TV right now. The good thing about TV is that if you really want to watch something, like I said, there's never been a better time to go out there and find something that you want to watch. There's more content than there's ever been. Now, granted, there's more shitty content than there's ever been. All right. But there's also some really good shows out there. I think that if you like it, and unlike you could do in the past, now you can go back and watch all the old shit. So you can watch all the, MacGyvers and the Love Boats and the Cheers.
I'm running out though, bro. I'm running.
There's no running out, bro.
No.
Maybe you can run out because you watch everything, but the normal person could never run out.
I'm definitely running out because like I'm now watching Tacoma FD, and I'm like,
what is that? What is it, like a Wish version of Texas 911 or something?
It's like if the guys from Super Troopers made a TV show about a fire department. That's exactly what it is.
Wow, that's actually kind of funny sounding.
I'm watching that right now, and I'm like, you know what? It's not bad compared to what we normally watch. This is not bad.
So let's before we leave this topic, give everybody one show that they absolutely should watch. That's out right now, one show that's active, and one show that they absolutely shouldn't watch.
That's active. That's currently active. Like that not like a show from the past. Like something that's still in process. It's
whatever, the past, whatever you want. So something current that maybe, something current, relatively new. Not, hey guys, go watch Cheers. It was a great show back in the 80s. No, pick something relatively recent, and then pick something that you think they should just stay the hell away from.
Yeah, you need to watch Reacher. Reacher is a phenomenal show. It's going to get a season 3, 100%. People really love it. Again, it's a throwback to those amazing shows, and I think you'll like it. Also, the characters are also very likable. And what should you not watch?
Yes, give me your not watch.
Well, there's so many.
Well, just pick one. Just pick one, so you give somebody an idea.
Don't bother watching Echo. It's a complete waste of time.
Okay. Because quickly,
it's poorly acted. It's poorly written. The premise makes no sense. Like they try to throw in, Kingpin, as like you're supposed to like really want to watch this because you watched Daredevil at some point. He is pretty much easily beaten. There's like this end tag, no spoiler alert, that just sort of like sets him up for more Avengers stuff in the future, but it's never really going to happen because they never actually pay off any of their end credit scenes anymore. In fact, if you look at the last like 5 Marvel end credit scenes, none of them have been paid off because they've all been failures. So they don't even try to continue them. It's just a complete waste of your time, and the story isn't good, and the acting isn't good. At some point, she's like she gives her powers to other women in her family, and it becomes like this whole like. It's just not a good. I don't want to spoil it, but it's not a good TV show. And even if you're like a hardcore third wave feminist, like it's still not a good TV show.
Okay. Let me go with the one that I think it's really great. Is the one I would pick is Severance. It's on Apple TV. It's a show that once I was finished watching the first season, there's only one season out there, getting ready to start filming for the second season. Once I was done watching the first season, it's a show I thought about for like 2 weeks. And it's rare that I get something that weighs so heavily on me that I can't get it out of my head and that's to me a sign of a really great TV show. I would say the worst show out right now that I wouldn't watch would probably be. I mean, I like your pick for Echo, obviously. What wouldn't I watch right now?
I thought you were going to say Citadel or something.
I watch Citadel. So listen, I don't watch a lot of shows that I don't think I'll like. I wouldn't watch. What's the show we were watching on Amazon that got shitty after the first half of the season?
It was on Amazon.
Yeah, when the bikers came in, the badass gun-toting bikers, and the futuristic where you go into the future and the girl puts on the little device. What was that called?
Peripheral.
Yeah,
I
don't
can't
watch
say the
that
word.
show. Fucking terrible show.
Yeah, you know what they should do?
First 6 episodes were good.
I liked the show, but it got really convoluted. Shane's right.
Yeah.
They also shouldn't name a show something that a lot of people have a hard time saying, in my opinion,
or understanding periphery.
Like Shane has a very an excellent grasp on the English language, and he sometimes stumbles on that word. It's a hard word. You shouldn't name your show that. You should have called it I don't know, but there's got to be a better word for it.
You should have named it after the first 6 episodes. Don't watch it. That's it.
All right. So before we go on to the next topic, Chappie for $10. Thank you, Chappie. Also, someone became a member, and I don't know who it was. I think it was Yoron.
He was showing his member. Yoron Falth has been a member for 6 months.
Oh, okay,
cool.
Put
that out there. Thank you, Yoron.
Chappie for $10. Thank you, Chappie. He says, so Brian, what's the latest on the Brian cut of Obi-Wan Kenobi? Shane, have you watched it yet? ?
I have it right here. I am trying to finish our history, and so I have not been able to sit down and watch the 2 hours. Is this 2 hours?
About an hour and almost 2 hours.
Yeah, I just haven't had 2 hours to just give to this, but I will watch it and I will give a review on Brian's cut. Brian is supposed to make it available to everybody else, I believe.
Not until you give me the green light.
Oh, all right. Well, I guess I got to watch it first. So,
yeah.
All right. Thank you so much, Chappie, for supporting it. I promise you, I'm sure it's going to be great. I'm not looking forward to watching Reva again. I wish Brian would have cut out Reva completely, but
I cut as much of her out as I could.
Okay. Or at least give her like Chris Tucker's voice when she says all the lines.
All right, we're going to talk about the Supernatural revival in the members.
I'm going to let you talk about Supernatural. If we can talk about, because I'm going to have to leave. It's 11:30.
That's what I was going to say. We're going to talk about the Supernatural revival in the members section. What do you want to talk about before you leave?
I want to talk about Roddenberry's ashes.
All right.
I think we got to talk about that.
Roddenberry's ashes. Okay, this actually happened, you guys. This actually happened.
This actually happened.
Peregrine 1 has no chance of landing on the moon due to a fuel leak. And I'm just going to give you guys the quick and dirty here. Basically, this is the company that had, in the past, launched famous people's ashes into space. And they had this new thing where they're like, you know what? We want to become the first commercial space probe to make a soft landing on the moon, and to deliver the ashes or whatever, the canisters, whatever of these famous people like Gene Roddenberry onto the moon.
Brought to you by Boeing. Just heads up. Boeing's behind this.
Of course it is. And there was a lot of headache about this. There was actually a Native American group that was mad that they were gonna desecrate the moon with ashes and human remains.
Hey, Native American people, stick to your own horrible shit that happened in North America. Okay.
Yeah, bro. Can you not be?
Forget the moon.
Stop complaining about the moon, Holmes.
You can't put hotels and gambling casinos on the moon yet. Okay, just hold your horses. No pun intended. Hold your horses.
Oh my god. And there was a lot of random people complaining about this for seemingly no reason. And then I remember the guy comes out, the head guy. He's like, "Hey, look, this is just like any funeral. We're gonna do it with respect and blah blah." And everyone's like, "Oh, okay, let's see how it goes." Well, in the latest update released on Tuesday, the company confirmed that the spacecraft had unfortunately no chance of a soft landing on the moon.
I love how they say no chance of a soft landing. That bitch is gonna crash. That bitch is gonna crash and make a new crater.
The landing, which is carrying NASA-specific equipment, launched on the Vulcan Centaur rocket from Cape Canaveral, the Peregrine was scheduled to land on the moon on February 23, when it would have begun to gather data about the lunar surface to help research for planned future human missions.
Cool. That's cool. Love anything planning for future human missions.
The lander also contained non-scientific payloads, including DNA from former U.S. presidents, including George Washington, John F. Kennedy, Dwight Eisenhower, and the ashes of Gene Roddenberry, the creator of Star Trek, as well as some of the former stars
on the TV show,
the TV series. Responding to the reports of the lander's failure, NASA said it was working with Astrobotic to identify the root cause of the propulsion problem. And adding, and this is the funniest part.
I'm getting a fucking shirt of this. I am getting a shirt of this. I swear to God. I will wear it.
100%. We are making a shirt with this. He added,
tomorrow.
Space is hard.
Quote, space is hard.
100%. By Friday, that shirt will be available to purchase, and I will be wearing it.
Absolutely. Space is hard, guys.
Later on Tuesday, NASA added more delays to the Artemis moon program scheduled for 2026. So, bottom line is now Gene Roddenberry's ashes and some of the other TV stars are now just floating randomly in the depth of space.
Not to mention the very first president of the United States, John F. Kennedy, which depending on how you feel about him, and of course Dwight Eisenhower. Let me tell you something. This is a bunch of bullshit. Okay, now granted, I don't know what's going to happen to his ashes or whatever, and listen, he's dead. I get it, but the idea that you would send him on this very first mission, the very first landing on the moon for this company, is stupid. Why would you? We're already going to the moon. We were planning to go to the moon in 2025. Why not wait until you can take them to the moon properly,
right,
and have some sort of a burial or ceremony where they're actually on the moon, instead of sending it on some unmanned spacecraft where any fucking thing could go wrong? Imagine if this thing blew up and the ashes just didn't get scattered, but were completely disintegrated, where they didn't exist anymore. Like,
well, matter can't be destroyed. Huh? It wouldn't be destroyed.
Well, turned into helium particles.
Right, helium particles.
You still wouldn't be able to see it. It's out there. But the point is like, why would they do this now? Like, what's the fucking hurry? You know how long these people have been dead? Like, why not wait until we're actually able to go to the moon properly? And guess what? We were supposed to go to the moon in late 2025.
Not anymore.
Less than 2 years. Now it's been pushed a year because of this bullshit.
Right. I love this too. Like, it also said on board were 5 small moon rovers weighing less than 6 grams, measuring 12 centimeters across, that would carry them. I don't understand why there's these little tiny moon rovers.
Well, because it's not all of their ashes.
Right.
By the way, it's not like the urn of George Washington. It's basically they also call it DNA. Right. Right. So yeah, I get it. Okay. So, but the point is like, you could have waited and had a really cool ceremony. And listen, in the future, 50, 100 years from now, people would be able to go to the moon, and you'd have your first like cemetery on the moon, or memorial on the moon where you could go and see where these famous people's DNA is. Anyways, I just think it's ridiculous. And also it sets the time back. And also you can't trust Boeing hardly for shit. So, why don't we just let SpaceX and Blue Origin do the work, guys?
Right. Yeah. Let them do the thing. All right. We're going to, Shane's got to leave pretty soon. We're going to talk about, I'm going to talk about, I guess, the aliens found in Peru. We're going to talk about that. And then we're going to go to the members section, and we're going to be talking about the supernatural revival, which I think is some pretty good stuff. And before you leave, you want to quickly give us your thoughts on the Iowa caucus, on the huge caucus in Iowa?
Well, I got to tell you, it was very interesting that when there were only 6% of the vote in, like all the news agencies called it for Trump.
Yeah, they called it
6%. So, we're calling it for Trump, and it was actually all of them. And I got to say, I got to give Trump some credit here. I still think he's, a narcissistic ass, and he doesn't have good temperament. But I got to tell you, in the last couple of days, he's really held himself back. He had nice things to say about the people running against him. I'm guessing it's because he won. But if he can maintain this level of like sanity while running throughout the rest of the race without like losing control and calling people names and being totally crazy, he might actually win over voters. So
yeah, they called it for him because it was like in the first like 7 minutes, he was already like 85%. It was like someone did the math and like, there's no way anyone catches up to him.
What a lot of responsibility Iowa has, like setting the tone for who's going to get elected.
Yeah. To be fair though, the Iowa caucus doesn't always determine who the nominee is going to be.
I don't know what this is. I thought Nikki Haley took third.
She did. The final reporting put her at 16%.
I see. So this is just something along the way.
Yeah, I thought it was really funny. Something that she said too. When I'll just play it for you real quick.
Thank you.
As always, we understand that Nikki.
I want to say to my husband, who is.
She goes on for too long. I'll just tell you what she said. She said, despite finishing third, I might add, at the time of this, now she ended up getting 20%, but at the time of this statement, she was actually third place in the caucus. And she said, it's very clear now that this Republican primary is now a 2-person contest.
Oh yeah.
And we're like, Mrs. Haley,
Trump,
you're
Trump
third.
DeSantis.
So is it between Trump and Sanders?
What she was talking about was she's polling in second in New Hampshire, which is the state they're going to next. Right. So she's actually polling heavily in second, but Trump is still kicking her ass in her own state. So she really has no chance. And so, yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens.
I thought maybe she was just speaking the loud part out loud. Like the soft part out loud. It's like they don't want Trump to win. So like they're largely trying to ignore Trump and like focus on DeSantis and Haley, but people are not allowing that to happen.
Yeah, chances of DeSantis or Haley taking out Trump at this point is, I don't know. I would stop wasting your money. I mean, it just doesn't seem like it's I don't know what the point is.
Oh my God. Did you see that graph? So Trump spent $44,000 for advertising in Iowa and Haley spent like 25 million
of the swamp's money.
Right.
Yes.
So like the cost per vote was like so upside down.
Ridiculous. Anyways, yet to be determined. We'll follow the drama. And listen, I appreciate you guys. Thanks for coming and showing up. I apologize that I have to go. I got a last minute text from my wife who's unable to pick up our child. So I'm going to go do it and be a good dad today. But know that I love you guys and I had a lot of fun talking. And Friday we'll be back to talk about some fun stuff. I think the movie ISS is coming out, but we will, Brian and I'll talk about it and let you know for sure.
ISS. Okay.
Yeah.
Later, bro. Have a good one, man.
You too, brother.
I'll just be here hanging out with everyone.
Yeah. Make fun of people. Have fun.
Okay. Later, man.
Bye.
I'm going to make fun of people. I don't even know what that means. Make fun of people. All right. So, hey, listen. Shane has exited the building. He has exited stage left or right or whatever side he normally is on. And we get to talk. Now it's a one-on-one conversation. It's me and you, baby. Me and you, 40 plus people. And I want to talk about the aliens found in Peru because this is a good one. This is a real good one. Before we do, there is a couple super chats. Michael Nemo. There it is. He said Lioness was pretty good. Lioness. What show was that? I'm gonna assume that that's like about like no, it's not. It's actually Special Ops Lioness. Oh, I'll check it out. Thanks for that recommendation, my friend. And then he also another $5 from Michael Nemo. Thank you, sir. Actually, DeSanto's shoe lifts came in higher than he did. Oh, the burns! The burns are real. DeSantis is a little weird, right? Like he does some pretty weird stuff. There was that viral video that came out. Some guy, I wonder if I can find it. He was offering DeSantis a participation trophy. Let me see if I can find it. What happened was some guy was, here we go. Okay, here we go.
Real quick before we get started.
started, thank you, everyone. Governor DeSantis, I want to present to you this participation trophy. Now, probably not going to win the election, right? But we're proud of you for trying.
I participation trophy. Sorry, buddy.
No, I mean,
Sorry, buddy. Sorry.
He's special, he's unique, and he's our little snowflake.
He's our little snowflake.
Real quick, before we get started, thank you, everyone. Governor DeSantis.
That was really funny. And the funniest part about it was, let me fix that. The funniest part about it was that his wife is the one who got like in front of DeSantis at like blocking. And a lot of people were like, why is your wife defending you against the trolls? And I'm not like someone who doesn't like DeSantis. I don't know enough about him to dislike him or not like him, but he does have these like really weird quirks. He kicks people out of town halls because they're wearing Trump hats, which is very weird. Like you would think you'd want to go after the Trump vote if you're trying to be the GOP nominee. He gets very like butthurt about little things. People ask questions that are they're clearly MAGA people or whatever. He gets very angry and weird about it, and he has these little tics where he's like smiling or not smiling, and it's like he's being told by people what to do, and the people that are telling him what to do are not giving him the right advice, and it's pretty obvious. But we'll see what happens. Okay, let's talk about this alien thing because it's pretty good. And you guys remember a little while ago the aliens that were that it came out. It was all over YouTube. The alien footage. On YouTube, where it was talking, they had like these little alien, like these dehydrated, mummified aliens. Here, they look like this. You guys remember that? The dehydrated, mummified aliens. They were in caskets, and everyone was talking about these aliens, and they did like, CAT scans and all this stuff on them, and the whole, like, they clearly, by the way, they clearly don't look like aliens. Like it's clearly like not an alien. But what happened was a lot of people were really going crazy about this. It was all over TikTok, all over Instagram, and they were talking about how no one's paying attention. Why is no one paying attention to this? These are real aliens, blah blah. Well, it finally comes out that the aliens found in Peru are actually dolls made of bones, specifically animal bones. Alien mummies that were found in the Peruvian airport last year are not aliens after all. Surprise, surprise. According to forensic experts, instead the aliens have turned out to be dolls made from earthly animal bones stuck together with glue. On Friday, the Peruvian forensics experts finally put the extraterrestrial claims to bed about the two doll-like figures that were seized by customs authorities in Peru last October from a shipment heading to Mexico. Flavio Estrada, the forensic little thing is wearing like Flavio Estrada, the forensic archaeologist who led the analysis, said that some people believe that these figures came from an alien center or come from another planet, all of which is totally false. The conclusion is simple. They are dolls assembled with the bones of animals from this planet with modern synthetic glues. Therefore, they were not assembled during the pre-Hispanic times, whatever the hell that is. They're not extraterrestrials. They're not aliens. The expert shows, look at these things. Be honest, guys. Did anyone look at these? Did any of you wonderful folks look at these and be like, damn, those are aliens? Like, I need to know. Did anyone? I'm going full screen here. Okay. Did anyone look? Oh, wrong one. Did anyone look at these and be like, look at those aliens? I had this buddy of mine. he texted, he messaged me on Facebook, and he's like, bro, they finally they finally released alien carcasses in Mexico, Peru, whatever. Check this out. And he links me to like some InfoWars. It was like Infowars.com or some kind of like YouTube clone site. I think it was like InfoWars. It wasn't Rumble. It was something else. It was like band.info or something. And it's showing some guy talking about these aliens. And I'm like, at first I'm fascinated, right? Like, maybe they found aliens. Maybe it's on band.info because the government doesn't want you to see them or whatever, right? And I'm like watching, and finally the shot goes to the little alien corpses. And I'm like, those aren't remotely real. Those are clearly not aliens. And the way they dressed one of them up, like, okay. All right, I'm going back to, I'm getting off this rant. So, they go on to say, for some pretty interesting stuff here. The experts showed reporters a couple of dolls around 2 feet long and dressed in multicolored clothing. Upon examining these objects, they said they were made from the bones of birds, dogs, and other animals. Dogs, bro. An alleged 3-fingered hand was x-rayed and found to be very poorly handmade structure made out of human bones. Damn. Where do they get the human bones? Look at this guy. Look at this guy. Look at this. That's clearly a doll, man. Like, it's obviously a doll. Someone asks us, hey, why aren't you guys talking about this? I'm like, because they're dolls. I can't. And when they're gonna come out that they're just made by someone. It's not real. All right, that's enough about this. I guess they finished with it is not the first time Mr. Mousen, and that's the guy's name who brought him up, has made claims about aliens that have later been debunked, including 5 mummies found in Peru in 2017 that were later discovered to be human children. Jesus Christ, bro. That's dark. That's really dark. Why is this guy... He just grave robbed? How did he get mummies of 5 children? Oh, God. Too much. Yeah, so, we'll see if we buy the Mr. Mousen's next alien hoax, because we ain't buying it today, sir. We are not buying it today. This is this guy, man. All right. Look at that. All right, moving on. It wasn't really worth being a weekly weird, but I definitely wanted to speak about it because it was too good not to talk about. All right, that said, we are going to go to the members section. We're going to be talking about Supernatural. So if you have not watched the Supernatural TV series, it's a great series about 2 brothers. It's starring Jared Padalecki and Jensen Ackles, 2 guys with names that are very difficult to pronounce, last names. And it looks like we're going to get a Sam and Dean, a supernatural revival or a continuation of some sort with the 2 brothers. And we're going to break that down in the members section. How do you become a member? It's very simple. Before I do, actually, let's super chat from Chappie. Chappie. To be fair, I'd probably write in Casey DeSantis before I'd vote for Meatball Ron. She's hot. She is pretty hot, actually. It's weird how she is so much more, what's the word? Charming or human-like than Ron DeSantis. He's very robotic, and I'm not trying to talk trash. I'm pretty sure he's a nice guy. I don't really actually don't know. I don't know anything about him. But he seems, in all of his speeches and everything, to be very robotic. Although I did like the way he dealt with Gavin Newsom. I thought it was hilarious when he just when they were talking about San Francisco and he pulls out a poop map of San Francisco. That was funny. But I'm not sure if he's ready to be president of the United States. Frankly speaking, I don't think most people are ready to be president of the United States. Let's be real. That's just them's the facts. Okay, real quick, I think there's some super chats on the other side as well. No, there isn't. Okay, so we're gonna go to the member section. Do me a solid, my friends. If you want to be a member of this amazing channel, we have not yet started putting out clips again. We're working on it, but we plan to start putting out clips. But until then, all we have here is the members section. And for some reason, this stream was deemed to be a limited ad revenue, which means it's not going to make a penny. So the only real reason we continue to come back and do this every week is because of wonderful members that are supporting this show. If you want to be one of those members and get the extra content at the end of every show, and a special surprise Mark Twain music video that I found recently. If you want to be a part of the memberships, click on the join below, become a member. This stream is going to end and immediately it's going to continue into the member section. I'm going to just stop this and immediately start the next stream right in the member section. And if you're on the Popcast Prime channel, the Popcast channel, then that stream has been going on the entire time and it will continue to go until the very end. So become a member, please. Hit the button and join us. And it's really worth it. We do an extra couple hours, 3 hours, I guess, every week, and we want to make sure that that you guys get as much bang for your buck as possible. Also, when we have docs coming out, you guys find out about them soon first, and we share clips and stuff on the Popcast channel with those docs. So come on down, join the member section. It's a fun time, and I hope you can be there. If not, that's cool. We'll be back on Friday at 10 a.m. We're probably talking about ISS and whatever's new. That link will go up probably tomorrow, and so you'll know what we're talking about. But we'll be back on Friday at 10 a.m. if you can't become a member. And until then, I want to say thank you for being here. Thank you for being awesome. You're amazing people, and I'm so glad that you join us every time we have a show. And that's it. I got nothing else. I got nothing else. So I'm just gonna go ahead and wrap up, and I'll see you in the member section.
Pick a video game, pick a movie, pick a television show, pick